and a field organizer for the Harris campaign. This election is crucial for the fate of American democracy and freedom. We are battling against a project that could harm underrepresented groups, our future children, and people who look like me. Our voices matter, and we must use our votes to fight for what we believe in. My ancestors fought for my right to vote, and it is our right as Americans to vote. We should exercise our rights and make a plan to get out and vote. It is imperative to get involved because our voices must be heard. Canvassing allows us to share our voices and influence the community to vote. Knocking on doors allows us to reach the community directly. Every canvassing conversation that we have amplifies our voices and reinforces the importance to get to the polls. We must keep knocking on doors and sharing our voices because we are not going back. Stand up and not continue to die. We're not going back.
I switched over to Mike.
What a handsome crowd. A round of applause for all of you. Good afternoon, good Sunday afternoon to all of you. My name is Madeline Dean. I have the privilege of representing the 4th Congressional District in Congress. Thank you, Nakaja. Did she get that right? We're not going back. Thank you for her words and her work organizing and telling all of us the job that we have to do over the next 50 days. I am excited to be here, kicking off this Reproductive Freedom bus tour with this handsome crowd in support of the Harris-Walz campaign. Excited to see me, but I have a feeling you're excited to see somebody after me a little bit more. Our own Governor Josh Shapiro. I'm going to tell you what my granddaughter is advising all of us. She's 3 years old. She was with me in Philadelphia. She's a sage. She was with me in Philadelphia on my lap when the Vice President came out with Governor Walz, and she chanted, "We're not going back. We're not going back." Scotty has it right. Don't you agree? We're not going back. We are ready to turn the page on Mr. Trump's chaos and indecency. We are ready to turn the page on his mandate of misogyny. You know what he has done, and you know what he will do. He has torn down rights, precious freedoms for so many in this room right here and across this country. And I remember that we saw what was going to happen when on June 16th, 2015, he glided down with no effort whatsoever a golden staircase and started his campaign of hate. We will not go back. Do you remember what he foreshadowed in his inaugural address? His American carnage. Make no mistake, he foretold where he was going, and he will go even darker. But this crowd gives me confidence. We'll show it just how to get it done, where on November the 5th, when we elect Vice President Harris But make no mistake, they're going to need partners, so be sure you tell every one of your friends to vote for every Democrat up and down the ballot. Democrats like my friend Ashley Ehas for Congress. Exactly. Democrats like Janelle Stelzen for Congress. More Pennsylvania state reps to help Speaker McClinton and Governor Shapiro. Let's send more state senators to Harrisburg to join the team. And are we going to re-elect Bob Casey? And I humbly ask that you re-elect the Fab Four, Chrissy Houlihan, Susan Wild, Mary Ganlin, and me. Let's take the rest of our fantastic federal delegation, like Brendan Boyle, there's so many. Joy Evans, please help send us all back. You know this. Pennsylvania is historically the Keystone State. We're about to do it again. For all of history, you know the numbers. President Biden won this state, the entire Commonwealth, by only 80,000 votes.
Montgomery County.
Montgomery County, thank you. With a lot of help. And Trump in 16 won this state by just 44,000 votes. We're not going to let that happen again, will we? We're not going back. No, we are not going back. Pennsylvania must be the Keystone State in this election. It's a time to turn the page and look for a brighter future. I see the brightness in all of our faces. Isn't it fun to have fun with civics and politics again? Let's be joyful because this campaign prizes decency. How about that? This campaign will protect our democracy. How about that? And this campaign uplifts freedoms. That's what we want. After all, we don't need to make America great again. America is great, but we do have work to do. We need to make America even greater for all, for the many, not just the few, which is the focus of the other campaign. Vice President Harris and Governor Walz are fighting for a new way forward, an agenda that protects reproductive freedom, strengthens our democracy, ensures every Pennsylvanian has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead. An opportunity economy, one that works for the many, not the few. And they respect our institutions. They will expand and protect voting rights, civil rights, and they will work to restore reproductive freedom from Philadelphia on out. They will work to make our children safe again, not a victim of gun violence. American carnage or a bright, joyful future plan? I think I know your choice. The Harris-Walz ticket is the strongest on reproductive freedom that we have ever seen in this country. Governor Tim Walz, a longtime champion of reproductive health care, and has been a fierce abortion rights champion as governor, helping to truly protect abortion rights across Minnesota. And Vice President Harris' record of protecting reproductive freedom, including abortion, is unquestionable. You remember when Roe versus Wade was overturned, Vice President Harris stepped up. She did a road tour, and it began here in Philadelphia, and I was with her. She did roundtables about the problem of Dobbs and the reduction of our rights. For the past 2 years, she has traveled across the country and hosted 100 of those roundtables to make sure our voices are heard. We're at a tipping point. In no uncertain terms, reproductive freedom and democracy as we know it is on this ballot in November. We cannot allow Donald Trump 4 more years to tear down the institutions and tear away our rights. We must elect Vice President Harris. The Harris-Walz ticket, it's pro-worker, it's pro-business, it's pro-family. They are the ticket for Pennsylvania to help us continue to grow this Commonwealth as a place to live and work and raise a family, just as my husband and I did. So we need volunteers like you and 100 of each of your friends, I know you have lots of friends, to be knocking on doors, to be phone banking, to be doing whatever it takes to make sure in these next 50 days we make Philadelphia and the surrounding counties the key to the Keystone. We will be the Keystone to win. So in the beginning, as I said, talking about Scotty, and here in the end, it's all that I think about. I think about my 4 grandchildren. And my 5th little girl who's on her way election week. I hope she comes November 5th. Would that be fun? But my 3 daughters-in-law, my 3 granddaughters, my 1 grandson, theirs is a world of bright possibilities for their future. That's the world I want to be fighting for. That's the world I want to make sure we wake up to on November the 6th. With 50 days to go, we are the key to all of this. Every door knocked, every call made will make the difference because, as Vice President Harris says, when we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. inspirational OBGYN Dr. Blythe Bynum. She's a graduate of the University of Mississippi Medical School. She practices right here. She did a fellowship at Penn. She practices here and in New Jersey. Man, oh man, are we lucky to have her voice on this Reproductive Freedom tour. Doctor, it's all yours.
Thank you for doing it today. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Blythe Bynum. I'm used to smaller audiences. Every day, I take care of all kinds of patients. Some who are looking to start families, some who are pregnant, some who've just given birth, and others who aren't ready to start a family. And my solemn oath is to make sure that every single one of them gets the care that they need. That is our responsibility as doctors, to keep people healthy and to help them thrive. Right now, I am able to do my job here in Philadelphia because the Pennsylvania government respects a woman's right to make their own decisions. But so many of my colleagues in states with Trump abortion bans aren't as fortunate. Because of Donald Trump and his extreme Republican allies, they are prevented from taking care of patients. As Vice President Harris said so forcefully, colleagues of mine in over 20 states with Trump bans are being forced to deny women the care that they need or risk being jailed. We've seen one heartbreaking story after the next of pregnant women who are being forced to bleed out from a miscarriage or drive hundreds of miles to get the care that they need. But here's what people need to know. If Donald Trump were to become president again, healthcare providers in every state in this country, including right here in Pennsylvania, will face the same horrific threats of jail time for taking care of patients. That means the same horrifying consequences for patients, and as their doctors, our hands will be tied. That means that my colleagues and I will face the impossible decision of saving a woman's life and risking prosecution, or abandoning our oath of office and watching our patients suffer. This is what's at risk during this election. Because if Trump is let back in the Oval Office, it won't matter what our leaders here at the state and local level do. Trump will ban abortion nationwide. He will rip away the protections that Vice President Harris and this administration have established, and he will have the Department of Justice go after healthcare providers and anyone who dares to get the care that they need by using the Comstock Act that promises to criminalize the mailing of all abortion medication. Trump will implement this Project 2025 agenda and put the government in every doctor's room in America. We cannot and we will not let this happen. And that's why I'm here today to say enough. It's time to turn the page and restore reproductive freedom for every single woman in America. And that is why I'm proud to be fighting to elect a truly fearless fighter and champion of our reproductive freedom, Vice President Harris. And now I'm so honored to turn it over to someone who has more courage than I could possibly imagine, and who has been bravely sharing her own story with the nation, Hadley Duvall.
Thank you all. My name is Hadley, and I am honored to be here today in Pennsylvania as we work to elect a strong, brilliant, and unapologetic leader for reproductive freedom and our fundamental rights, Vice President Kamala Harris. As you've heard, this election will be the most impactful election of our entire lives. We have a choice this November between Vice President Harris, someone who is fighting for us, and Donald Trump, someone who's fighting against us. Kamala Harris will restore our reproductive freedom and protect our rights. Donald Trump will just enact dangerous Project 2025 on us and run everything that we know now. Not only would this strip all women in all 50 states of their reproductive freedom, that's just the start. So I'm not sitting this fight out, because when Donald Trump brags about overturning Roe, it is personal. I'm from Kentucky, where because of Donald Trump, an extreme abortion ban is now in place, with no exceptions for victims of rape and incest. From the time that I was 5 years old, I was sexually abused by my stepfather at the time. When I was 12, I was impregnated from being raped by him. I was too young to really understand what was happening to me. But hearing that I had options was the first and the only thing that kept me able to hold on to hope. But now, women and girls don't have that to hold on to. Maybe they do here in Pennsylvania, but they don't across state lines. And that's scary. There are no options for some women and girls out there. And make no mistake, that is because of Donald Trump. I remember standing in my bathroom, holding a positive pregnancy test after being checked out of language arts class. And I had no idea what was in my future. But knowing that I had an option to determine what was in it was the only thing that kept me fighting. And now I'm 22. I'm a first-generation college graduate. I'm living a life that I used to pray for. I've been advocating for our rights and using my voice to get power. And that's what Roe used to give us. The opportunity to take your power back, a chance. Throughout this journey, I've discovered a resilience I never knew existed. I learned that empowerment is not about forgetting my trauma, but about creating a light from the strength within. So to every survivor out here today and listening, know that you're not alone. Your pain is valid, and your courage is inspiring. And together, we will transform our experiences into a powerful force for change. And this is just the start. But doing that takes all of us. And that's why we are here today. We are coming together because there is too much at stake. Trump brags about overturning Roe v. Wade. He says he's proudly responsible for each and every abortion ban across the country. And he's called them a beautiful thing. I'll ask him again and again, what is so beautiful about making a 12-year-old carry the child of their parent? To tell a girl who has already been robbed of her childhood that you are now taking her future away, that's unimaginable. But it's happening. It's happening across the country. It's happening in this state. Donald Trump sees no wrong in what he did with overturning Roe. He doesn't believe that women are being affected by this every day. And they are.
He doesn't care.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care. Project 2025 is an extreme and dangerous blueprint of a second Trump term and what it would do to us. In Project 2025, there are detailed plans to have a total abortion ban in all 50 states, including right here in Pennsylvania. Project 2025 even plans to prosecute doctors for sending or receiving medication abortion in the mail. But Project 2025 does so much more than that. It would take away checks and balances, and Trump would have unprecedented power. It would restrict our access to birth control. It would roll back protections for the LGBTQ+ community and use government programs to promote a model of marriage that does not include them. Project 2025, as someone who is Gen Z, very young, this is my second election I'm voting in. And Project 2025 shows me that they will undo everything that I just learned in the history books. Everything that the strong people I just learned about in history class fought for would be undone. I can't sit around and let that happen. And this is what's at stake. It took time to find my voice, and even now, it's not easy to share my story, but doing so has never been more important to me. I spoke out the first time publicly the day after Trump overturned Roe. I was shocked to see how many people in my community didn't understand how devastating of a decision it was for women and girls like me. So I shared my thoughts on a Facebook post. I was nervous, I hit post, and I threw my phone across the room. Didn't even tell my parents before I made this post, and I have a lot of conservative family members. But to this day, making that post is one of the most important things I've ever done in my life. And since then, I traveled my state, and now my country, fighting for our generation to get our reproductive freedom back. And we will. Pennsylvania with you all today. Pennsylvanians are proudly pro-choice. You all have turned out to vote for reproductive freedom at every opportunity. But no one in this state would be safe if Donald Trump makes his way back into the White House. The path to the Oval Office runs right through this state, literally. For all of us across the country, in all 50 states, we cannot afford to sit this out. Our rights are on the line in this election, and that is not an exaggeration. We know that for our lives, for our futures, and for the generations to come, we have to get out and vote. When I walk into that voting booth on November 5th, I will vote for the younger me, who deserved so much better, and who deserved the options that she had. I will vote for the girls of America who are too young to have an opinion, but just old enough to suffer from the damage. I will vote for my future. I will vote for your future. I will proudly cast my vote for Kamala Harris. And if you care about America, you should too. Now, it is my honor to introduce another fierce fighter for reproductive freedom and our fundamental rights. He's been a champion for women, girls, and everyone, not only in this state, but in this country. Please welcome your governor, Josh Shapiro.
Let me take a minute and welcome Hadley to another Commonwealth. By the way, no offense to Governor Beshear, the greatest Commonwealth in the nation. And Hadley, let me just say to you, you are powerful. You are purposeful. And your voice has been found, and people are listening, and you are going to help bring us real change in this country. Thank you. We are grateful you are here, and I know Hadley's spending the week in Pennsylvania, which is just awesome. I invite everybody to spend a week in Pennsylvania. Let me just say how awesome it is to be with my Congresswoman Madeleine Dean, who's an awesome leader in our Commonwealth. And she is joined here today, it is important for you to know, by former Congressman Greenwood, who is with us. And the reason I want to highlight Congressman Greenwood is that he not only served Bucks County so well in the U.S. House of Representatives, Congressman Greenwood is a Republican. Madeleine Dean is a Democrat. There is a bipartisan force that is standing up for women's reproductive rights in this Commonwealth and in this country. It's important. I want to say to have a whole lot of folks with us here today. Dr. Kate Walsh is with us today. Doctor, I'll tell you, I didn't catch every episode, but I do not remember that episode when you invited politicians like Donald Trump and J.D. Vance into the room with you with a patient where you were talking about her reproductive rights. I don't think I missed that episode, right? Because Kate knows politicians do not belong in the labor and delivery rooms. Thank you for being with us. And my little buddy, people have accused us actually of being twin brothers. I don't know if you saw Jack Schlossberg here. I know we look alike. My hair's a little better than his. We had a lot of fun at the DNC together, though I would point out, Jack's gross, and I'll tell you why he's gross. He puts mayonnaise on everything, which I think is just disgusting. But nevertheless, I'm thrilled Jack is here and highlighting the importance of this issue to so many people who follow him and continuing to make sure that the vast majority of members of his family, with the exception, I guess, just one, believe in real courage. And real courage is standing up and protecting people's rights and freedoms every day. Jack, thanks for being here. Listen, I just want to spend a few minutes talking about my old friend Kamala Harris and the issue of freedom, which is on the ballot in this election. I've been blessed to know Kamala Harris for nearly 20 years. She was a young prosecutor. I was a young state representative when we started to get to know one another. And she is tough as nails. Tough as nails. She is someone who has always stood up and fought for the people. Always been on the side of trying to expand rights, expand freedoms, and make sure that those who often are in the shadows of our society are looked after. They are seen and they are heard. We've both been prosecutors and public servants together. And as Joe Biden said, the most important decision he ever made was selecting Kamala Harris to serve as his vice president. She's tough as nails. She's battle tested. She's ready to go, and she's going to make it great, Madam President. You could not have a clearer contrast in the race between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Actually, ironically, I think the only thing they may agree on is that as Pennsylvania goes, so goes the nation, and we will decide who the next president is. But you couldn't have a clearer contrast on a whole host of issues. But where I think there is the most clear contrast is on the issue of freedom. Let's examine the records. When Donald Trump was in charge, we know he brought a whole lot more chaos to this country and a whole lot less freedom. Think about it. He packed the Supreme Court And the Supreme Court went ahead and ripped away the fundamental freedom from millions of women across this country to simply be able to make the basic decisions over their own bodies. He not only ripped away that fundamental freedom, he went out and bragged about it. Hell, he was bragging about it this morning, I think on whatever his fake Twitter is called. By the way, just before he dumped all over Taylor Swift, let me be very clear about something. Attacking Taylor Swift, especially in her home state of Pennsylvania, is not a smart move. The other dumb move is ripping away freedom from millions of women because, let me tell you something, women are going to vote in this election. And women have a whole lot of allies, myself included, in standing up for their basic reproductive rights and freedom. I remember that day Donald Trump was successful at ripping away the freedom of women across this country when his court overturned Roe. The next day, a whole bunch of us gathered right in front of the Constitution Center. And we stood up and we said we were going to mobilize, not just to vote, but we were going to mobilize to reverse the fact that people like my daughter were born into a world where they had more rights than they had that day and still today. When we gathered that day, we were down, but we weren't out. And we were fired up. We were ready to go to fight for our freedoms. We understood that that was not just going to manifest itself in one election. That we knew we had to keep doing the work election after election, day after day, to restore those freedoms and protect those rights. I want you to know I heard those voices loud and clear. That's why I have been a governor who has always stood on the side of freedom and protected a woman's right to choose here in the Commonwealth. I want you to know it's not only been protecting abortion access, and I'm going to say that word, abortion access, here in the Commonwealth. It's making sure you can now buy birth control over the counter in pharmacies across Pennsylvania without a prescription. We ended the state contract that existed for decades with Real Alternatives, which tried to take real reproductive freedom away from women in this Commonwealth. We tried to make sure that Medicaid and public dollars were paying to make sure women had access to all reproductive health care in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Every step of the way, we have made clear to our opponents in the legislature, do not send me those bills to undermine freedom in Pennsylvania, because they will be met with a swift veto from my office. The states have been on the front lines of this. And you live in a state where reproductive rights and freedoms are protected. Or for those of you from the western part of our state, from Pittsburgh, where I know Hadley's going to be in a couple days, we have seen a dramatic increase. Thousands of women coming from West Virginia and Ohio, where they do not have the same level of reproductive freedom in those states, coming here to get basic health care, coming here to have an abortion if they so choose. I've made clear our doors are open in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania from women across all of these United States. But what we are seeing firsthand in Pennsylvania, because of our neighboring states, the effect of these Trump abortion bans. And I want you to know there is only so much we can do here if Donald Trump is given the keys to the White House. Because, make no mistake, Donald Trump and his sidekick, J.D. Vance, they will sign a national abortion ban. They will make it impossible for women to make decisions over their own bodies. And it's going to make it harder for us in Pennsylvania to be able to stop that. The good news is, you're not powerless. Because in 51 days, you have the opportunity to vote for a candidate, Kamala Harris, who wants to codify Roe in this nation and defend the women's right to choose and protect our fundamental freedom. You did not have a clear contrast in this race, and the danger is clear, but the opportunity is real. Listen, it should be up to you to decide when you want to start a family or whether you want to grow your family. It should be up to Donald Trump. It should be up to you if you decide that IVF is right for you to be able to start your family, not Donald Trump or some conservative court who wants to take away that fundamental freedom from you. It should be up to you to decide what medicines you want to take. It should not be up to Donald Trump. These are the fundamental issues of freedom that are on the ballot. And while Kamala Harris and my friend Tim Walz's names are on the ballot, the truth is, it is your rights and your freedoms and your power that is on the line in this election in 51 days. And so I want to end not by talking about our friend Kamala Harris, but I want to end by talking about all of you and your power in this election, particularly your power as a fellow Pennsylvanian. You know, 248 years ago, in a building right across the street, our founding fathers signed our Constitution. After declaring our independence from a king, they signed that document to determine our future, one that was based on the power in the people's hands, and one where we would be empowered to chart a course based on self-determination. After one of my predecessors, Ben Franklin, and it sounds weird to say that, but he really was one of my predecessors. After one of my predecessors, Ben Franklin, signed that Constitution, he walked out on those cobblestone streets. Y'all should go check it out. Particularly kids should go check it out after this. And he was met by a fellow Philadelphian who looked at him and said, "Mr. Franklin, what do we have here? A monarchy or a republic?" Franklin looked at her and he said, "We have a republic if you can keep it." For the last 248 years, we've been doing the hard work necessary to not just keep it, but to write this American story, one that has expanded freedom and opportunity for all people, no matter what you look like, where you come from, who you love, or who you pray to. And the interesting thing about this story that we've written, in every chapter of our American story, we've gotten better, we've gotten stronger, we've gotten more just, and we've gotten more free. But in each chapter, the American people have been tested. We've wondered sometimes whether the 2 steps forward we took and then the 1 step back would result in us losing a right, losing a freedom. Well, folks, right now we're in the middle of one of those chapters, where Donald Trump and his packed Supreme Court has knocked us back a little bit. But the power in your hands is the same power that our ancestors and their ancestors and theirs before have had to write this story, because the truth is, it hasn't been people with big titles next to their names that have determined the future of our nation. It's been ordinary Americans rising up, demanding more, seeking justice, and realizing their power. That has what made us be stronger and more free every step of the way. And so I say to you, my fellow Americans, my fellow Pennsylvanians, we have this unique relationship with freedom and democracy. We understand our power and we understand the responsibility that comes with that power. And so I ask of all of you, not just to show up in 51 days and vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. I ask you over these next 51 days to dedicate yourself to the work that we are called to do, the work